I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Hunter.
This is the Family Show!
Howdy folks, and welcome back to my top 100 games of all time 2018 version. I am here with Hunter, my partner in crime. As we go through, today we're going through, get this, 60 through 51. The top of the bottom. Which, you know...
The best of the worst.
Yes, the
I feel
best
like I've
of the
said that
worst,
already.
You've probably said. Well, you keep saying that anyway, probably because you've had appalling shocks and trauma from everything on my list so far. It's been very exciting. I don't know why he's having so much trauma, but anyway. We are ready to go, so let's get started. We are on number 60. It was my 57 last year, so it's remaining very steady, very stable, and that is the Amazing Power Grid. And this is one of those evergreens, as everyone calls them. It's the game that I shouldn't love. It is the exception to so many things, and yet it stays in this solid spot. It seems year after year. Why? Because it is a solid, amazing game. You would not expect a game that includes so much mathiness to be so engaging and so unique and actually fun. And it does all of those things. We don't have any expansions or anything fancy to it. And all you're doing is balancing your money and your resources to go through and power as many cities as you can at the end of the game. That's really it. It's pretty simplistic in concept. It takes a little bit of time to master that technique, though. And you're juggling all of these different resources going, okay, there's an economy with the nuclear power and the coal power and the oil and all of this, and you have to kind of juggle that and balance that versus how much you can afford to get, what kind of factories power you're going to use, what your sources are going to be. It's got a really cool auction system. There's just a lot going for this game, and again, you wouldn't think so. So if you've been turned off saying, oh, this game's mathy, you might want to try it anyway, because I am living proof that it doesn't have to be a bad game even if it's mathy, and I don't usually like mathy. So the enigma that is Power Grid. So I know you like this game too.
Yeah, it's my 72. I don't like it quite as much as you, but I find that shocking. But I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of landed.
Shocking.
That's where it's kind of landed on my list. It was 77 the time before, so it's kind of in the 70s now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a nice, solid, smooth game. There's a lot, like she said, there's a lot of math. It's more budgeting. And obviously there's math involved in budgeting, but it's more like, I've got this much money and I need to do these things. How do I budget that money out each turn? And I guess because you have the physical money in front of you, it's kind of easier to go, okay, I'm going to spend 20 on this, I'm going to spend 5 on this other thing, and 30 on this other thing, and I have this much left over to buy resources or whatever. It's mathy, but you're using money. It's more like allocating money. So yeah, I like it. It's a good one. I think this one's gonna slowly creep down my list. I mean, I said it's solidly in the 70s, but I think it's gonna creep down because I think there's better economic games out there that I enjoy. They have a better auctioning system and things like that.
Maybe, but I haven't apparently played them yet. So yeah. So anyways, yes, there's that one. Now, this jump is odd to me because it was 145. It jumped up to 59, but I think it was because of a bunch of recent plays that I had. Yeah, I know, that's odd. That's usually, but it just kind of reminded me, I think because it had fallen out, we just hadn't played it in a long time. And then I got to play Jaipur again. We had a recent play, and then I played it with somebody else. I'm trying, my brain. Who did I get to play this with? I taught it to somebody that hadn't played it before. I want to say it like Dice Tower Con or something. Now my brain is just, whoop, it went out who I was playing with. We had a ball, and it was fun to get to teach somebody a game that they'd never played, and it's just a fun, cute little 2-player game. It's really short, lasts like half an hour maybe, and you're going through and you're just trying to do collecting sets to get these different coins that have victory point values and stuff on them, but the different things. You've got gold and silver and rubies and things that are worth more, and then you've got these different cloths and fabrics and stuff. But it's kind of a press your luck game because you want to collect as many, like as large of a set as possible because you get more victory points if you do that. But if someone comes and snatches those, the top, it diminishes. So if you were the first person to grab it, they have higher point values than the ones on the bottom. So you want to go in and get all the good stuff, but before they do. And so it's a really fun little push and pull game. And again, it doesn't take very long. And it's cute and little, highly portable, can play anywhere. Love it, love it, love it. And it's almost like I rediscovered the game this year, which is so funny. And so I just appreciate it. I've always loved it, and it's just had some really awesome experiences with it. And that is Jaipur. I know you're going to be like, meh, because it's really light little.
But no, it's a great introductory gateway 2-player game. Easy to teach, easy to learn, quick to play. That's what you want in a gateway game, obviously.
Totally.
But it is about to plummet completely off my list.
Because it's too light and fluffy. I like it because it's so breezy. It's so breezy.
It's my 184.
It's easy, breezy, beautiful.
100.
Well, and I'm telling you, it was
84.
low on my list too, but it's like, once I got to play it again and have some fun with it, it just...
You fell in love with it all over again.
I did. It's my Jaipur.
All right. That's acceptable, I guess. But...
Well, I'm sure you'll find this highly unacceptable. This one took a little bit of a drop, and I suspect it might come back a little bit, pull back again with a recent play. We haven't played it in a long time, and we've had some other games that I have fallen in love with since. This was 36. It is now my 58, and this is Prepare for Hunter's Stroke Le Havre, which is like one of Hunter's favorite games, period. And you're not facing the camera. They can't see you're stunned. So, yes.
I don't know you anymore.
Yeah, okay. There you go. This is... Oh my goodness. It's Uwe in a box. It's the quintessential Uwe game, or one of them, actually. More on that some other time, I'm sure. But what you're doing in this one, you've got this ship going through the harbor. Le Havre. Oh, what did you know? And you've got a bunch of different goods that you're building, and you've got things that are made out of brick that later will upgrade to clay and all these different things. And you're trying to build up this resource engine so that you can, of course, end result, victory points. But the way you go about it is really cool. You still have your feed your people mechanism, but there's different little engines, again, that you can build to kind of do that on it automatically, so you don't have to worry about it as much as you're going through and building all these different buildings and goods, and everything's worth, everything you build is worth some victory points. And oh my gosh, it's a really cool game. My only thing, I think, and my beef with some of Uwe's games, there's so many little bits. But we just took, I think, did we even keep them in here to make it easier? Did we keep the little bowls in here? I can't remember if we didn't. Oh, we didn't. We usually grab some little bowls and just dump everything in bowls and make it easier. We individually baggied everything. But of course, as you can see, there's like all these baggies. So it's a typical Uwe game. He's got all these little pieces. But this one isn't quite as overwhelming as like Feast for Odin or something if all the pieces overwhelms you. What I really like about it is the dual-sided tiles. So when you upgrade them, like the cattle, they turn into steak. Bread from grain. Let's see, the fish to smoked fish. But it's absolutely a wonderful game, and I make it sound like I don't like it as much. And yeah, I just said it's my number. Oh, hello. It's my number 50. What did I say? 57. That's crazy. That's crazy. Or 58. 58. And I love this game. And I think it might go up a little bit again with some more plays. But it kind of got punished because we haven't played it in a long time. Which is why our little resolution to play all the games, I think, is going to be awesome and very important. Because it may redeem itself once again. And become higher up on the list. Fantastic. Solid game. I think it says 100 to 200 minutes. What do you think about that? For 2-player?
Couple hours.
Yeah, probably
maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're used to playing it, I think we can do it in that minimum time. But that's 2-player, and if you're playing it with more, it definitely will take more time. Solid game though. Go ahead. Everyone's waiting.
This is the best Uwe Rosenberg game in existence. Anyone who says otherwise, I may have words with. This is my number 26 game. It did drop a little bit for me. Like you said, we haven't played it in a while. It dropped from 16 to 26, but it's still an amazing game. It's awesome. It plays, in my opinion, best 2 players because it speeds up, like you said.
Yeah, it speeds up
the game time increases quite a bit each time you add a player. And that tends to be the thing in any Uwe game. The more players you have, the longer it takes. This one even more so because it's got there's a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, a lot of thought going into your turns. But what I like about this game is you almost can't make a bad move in this game. It's like there's so many amazing things you can do. True. Oh, I wanted to get the cattle. Oh, she got the cattle. Well, no, I'll just take 300 fish. I'm being hyperbolic a little bit.
Slightly.
But every move is good. It's really thinky. There's many different ways to build your engine. You can build a bread-making engine and go crazy with the bread. You can be a brick person and taking clay into bricks and do all kinds of things with that. You can make tons of food to feed your people. You can buy ships to feed your people. It's just a really solid, fun game. The buildings are randomized. You can have different buildings each time you play, which adds replayability to the game. Really, really awesome worker placement game.
Yeah, there were a couple things that you brought to mind too that I didn't mention. The fact that when you build the buildings, he can still come to them.
You get a little bonus.
But I get a little bit of something from him doing that. And it's also kind of interesting because if you know that that's their engine builder, you can go over there and effectively block that spot too. Right. So there's a lot of strategy involved with that. And I forgot to, you reminded me just how tight the turns are. There are a ton of choices, but as with a lot of his games, you don't get the time to do all the things you want, so you do have to pick something to try to specialize in. So it's like, all these good choices, what do I do? Oh, well, this one looks the easiest. I'm going to do this, you know.
Wow, it sounds like a really amazing game.
It is. In fact, it's my number 57, or 58. Isn't that amazing? Don't be bitter. Don't be bitter. It's amazing. Do play it. All right. I keep wanting to say 57, but now it is here. It was formerly my 26th. This also took a little dive, and I think it was because of lack of plays. Although, did we play it right after I made this list? I can't remember now. You'll refresh my memory. We have played it again recently, and that is Castles of Burgundy. Did we not play it recently? Or are you shaking your head?
We've played it since you made your list.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it might go up again a little bit. I made the list before we replayed it. It got punished a bit because, again, we had not played it in a very long time. But it is Feldy goodness, if you know Stefan Feld, and if you don't, now you know. This is probably one of the first games that you should try if you've never played a Stefan Feld game. This is a lot of people's first game of his. It's just really well done. It's colorful. There's so many great options. You get that introduction with the point salad without it being completely overwhelming, because some of his games are pretty complicated. But this one is just a beautiful way of building up your kingdom. And so you've got all these tiles and you're going through and you use dice, which, yes, I know, that does kind of punish it as well for me. It's not my top Feld for that reason. But you're using what your dice rolls are and you get all these good choices. You've got these different types of land that you can get from that roll, or maybe you can use that roll to sell some goods or get some goods. There's all these different things going on. Meanwhile, you're using this to build the best kingdom in the right order, because as you clean up and cover certain areas and parts and fields and this and that, you get bonuses for completing an area. You get bonuses if you complete a whole type of land before the other players. It's another one of his games that scales fantastically between 2 and 4 players. And I don't think, let's see, do they have the time on this? I don't think they do.
30-90.
Is it 30-90?
It's about an hour game.
Yeah, yeah. And it feels like that. It goes pretty good. 2-player with us, yeah, almost exactly an hour. Super smooth game. It's a lot of fun. It would be a little bit, again, at first, if you've never played a Feld game, it is a little bit to take in at first because each tile does something different. So it is a lot to absorb the very first time you're playing, but it's really easy to pick up once you've started. So really love me some Castles of Burgundy. And your face. This is
I mean, I don't have much to say about this situation that we have here. It's my number 39, so not too far off from your list.
Okay, see.
I like this game a lot. It's like you said, it's the what I would recommend as your first Feld. It was our first Feld, and now we own
a lot,
a bazillion Feld games. So apparently it left a good impression on us. Great game. She mentioned the dice and the fact that dice are not necessarily friendly to her, but in this game, what you roll really doesn't matter because no, it doesn't because all it is a choice between areas.
Yes, but if
you could roll the wrong number, but rolling ones is not necessarily worse than rolling a 6.
True, there is that. But if you keep
may need
consistently rolling
threes,
the
and you're not-
same number over and over again, you're going to run out of options. That's my
I agree with that. I agree with that.
But yes, you're right. If it's you roll like, oh, I rolled a 6 instead of a 1. A high number, low number doesn't matter in this because there's the same number of goods for each number count. So, yeah, it's good
Anyway,
stuff.
great game.
It is.
Love it. Can't fault you too much.
That's right.
Just a slight bit of angst. Slight angst.
All right. Well, I think the angst will rise
Oh dear.
with this one.
I don't even want to know.
It was my 27. There was something about my late 20s here that dropped a bit.
Punitation.
They were punitated. Yes, we have not played it in quite a while.
That word now. That's awesome.
He's corrupted me, people. Help! Help! So, it has dropped from 27 to 56. Still a fantastico game that just made Hunter blood boil with blood rage! Blood rage! This is one of Eric Lang's babies. It's a pretty game. We have loved this game quite a bit, so much that it looks like the cover is falling apart. And one of the reasons for this game, okay, and I'm not usually a sucker for saying, oh yes, but in this case, you gotta see some of this stuff. Of course, we have a ridiculous amount of things in here. I won't unpack too much because this is packed meticulously, but I must show some of these beasties. So in this game, you are a particular Norse clan. I'll take this out, they're easier.
It's falling out.
That's okay. Yeah, let's get a couple dudes. There we go. And you are battling in Ragnarok, the end of days, for glory and ultimate victories and victory points. And these miniatures, people. Look at these glorious miniatures. They've got a little bit of everything. And the miniatures, these are the big giant monsters. Again, cool mini or not, they love to make the big beasties. The clan members are much smaller and more normal sized miniatures. You're going through these regions and it is a little bit of area control. There's card drafting for your actions, and basically what you're doing is you're using your board for your clan and you've got amount of rage, and rage is is your currency for being able to attack, do any of your moves and actions and motions. So you get extra clan upgrade cards, you can upgrade your ships, there's some waters that you can take control of in the areas around there. There's different monsters that you can have as your pets. Basically, they'll come and help fight for you. And you can get a couple of those. Your leaders can get extra bonuses. There's all these different things. Meanwhile, you're collecting, what is it here? Rage, axes, and horns, and you can get all these bonuses that also give you a ton of victory points at the end of the game. There's all this stuff coming together. Some of the cards that you use as upgrades give you victory points. Winning battles or losing them, depending on who you have, will also get you victory points. Just, it's a really neat game. And it was deceptive to me. It looked like a really heavy war game, which I'm not a fan of that. And at the time I wasn't into super heavy games either. And thinking, ooh, a lot of fighting, heavy game, pass. It's really not hard to learn this game. It's really easy to pick up. And it's fun to play with all the monsters and everything in it. The cards are really self-explanatory and they're pretty simplistic. The battle is easy to figure out. It's just like who has the higher number. You can't get much better than that. Absolutely love this game. And it
love it so much it's in your 50s?
That's right. I love it so much it's in my 50s. And I cannot express how amazing. Like, it's just one of those games that is fun in every aspect because you can play with the minis. You've got so much going on in this game. It's a really solid game. And Hunter will tell you more because he's crying a bit.
No, I'm not going to tell you too much. It's my number 20. It's one of my favorite games. It dropped a little bit for me. Like you said, we haven't played it in a while, so it dropped for me as well. Mm-hmm. But it did not drop into no man's land of the 50s. So, it's an awesome game. If you like area control games, you like drafting games, you like cool miniatures, this is the game for you. Like she said, if you just see it played on a table, if you were to walk up on it and look at it, you go, wow, this is like a crazy heavy war game.
Yep.
But it's a fairly simplistic area control card drafting game. Mm-hmm. And I recommend it if you like that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Wonderful. All right, so moving onward, my number 55 is new. New! Time for the newness. And that is dun, 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 Century Eastern Wonders. This game blew my mind when it came out because not only can you play it by itself, but you can combine it with Century Spice Road and make a super mega awesome game. Which is actually, I think, my favorite way to play that is with it together. And I fell in love with it. There's something about it's such a simple game to explain. You're just building up this engine where you're grabbing some bits, trade them in for these other bits that are a little more powerful, get these bit combos, and then you buy something that costs a certain type and number of those bits. But you're moving around on this map meanwhile, and you can build little building things on them, and I don't know what it is about this. The art's beautiful. Let me show you this, maybe, if I can get it open. But it is, I fell in love with this. I really like this one over Century Eastern Wonders is my favorite over Century Spice Road. It's got cute little tiny bowls. Beautiful colored little bits. Like I said, you get to trade all these bits for other bits. And then this is the neat part. This is what makes it unique, is all these different map tiles. Going around on this map. So, just trading things, but it's just, the artwork's beautiful. It tells you the cost. I hope you can see that. It tells you the cost of what's going on, what you can do there. Let's see. The different things that you can do. And you trade things, and it's got the type of good. I absolutely love this game. I fell in love with the art, the way it works. It's just a nice enough tweak on what's going on with Century Spice Road that really livened up the game. And in combination with it, wow. In fact, I'm looking forward to playing it again. It might even go up a tiny bit. I'm not sure. I absolutely adored what's going on with this game. And again, it's just, at its heart, you're just building that engine. And I love the puzzle aspect to that and how it works, and just fiddling with all those bits and things and moving around on this beautiful map. It's just a lot of fun, and it's almost a relaxing game too when you're doing that, unless you get too stressed out by racing around and trying to take over more parts of the board than your opponents. So there is that, of course, but I find it a relaxing game and a lot of fun. What do you think? Too light for you?
It's alright.
Just alright.
123.
What? Oh, fail.
123. It's light. I mean, it's a fun little game. Like she said, it's got interesting choices. It's just a good light. I wouldn't say light to mid-weight game.
Yeah, it's
not a gateway game, I don't think. Not quite. But
Century Spice Road probably could be, though.
Yeah.
This one has a little bit more to it.
It's a next step. And I do agree with her. I enjoy the combo game between, you take the two and merge them together. That's my favorite way to play. This is probably second, and then Spice Road's third.
The third, yeah.
Looking forward to whatever the third game is and see how they do that and how they incorporate all three together. That's going to be interesting to see. So
I am definitely looking forward to that as well. So if you haven't yet, you definitely need to check out Century Eastern Wonders. That is my 55, and now my 54 is also new to the list. I guess we must have played it after we'd made the list last year, or we did get it early in the year. I can't remember now. It's a beast of a game. And it is one of Lacerta's classics. I think everything that goes with Lacerta should be called a classic, though. And Lisboa is about this poor, unfortunate town in Portugal that had, what did it have? An earthquake, a tsunami,
fire,
and a big monster fire, all in the same year. And this is the town recovering from all of these things. I mean, it's kind of neat because it's built off of a piece of history, which is usually how he does his games. There's a little seed of some type of reality in it, and then he builds his game around that. And I love that. And this one, you're going through the different cities with the leaders and doing different things. And his game, it's really hard to explain. They're incredibly heavy. But at its heart, your turns are incredibly simple. All you're doing here and there is like moving to go do an action, take the action, your turn's over. Something like that. I mean, it's
play
really...
a card, take a card.
Yeah, play a card, take a card. It's real... at its heart, it's very simple, but what you can do with those things and what the cards do is so complicated. That's where learning the game takes a lot of time. So this is not an introductory game. This is not a secondary game. This is a heavy game. In fact, I don't even know what's the weight on this. Is it a 4 or something?
Is it 4 or something?
Yeah, 4 something out of 5 on BGG. Totally worth it, though. If you like heavy games, give this a shot. And he's got his same... Let's see, as the Gallerist, it's got the same kind of muted colors. It's interesting. But you can see, and it came with its own little, like, insert to help you with the pieces. Because there's quite a few pieces. Oh, ours has seen better days. Oh, dear. Some of the cards have shifted a little bit. But you can see it's got a nice little insert that you can actually use. It's functional, so you can just pull things out and play. The board, let me see. It's a bit of a beast. It's a monster board. Try to show you this board. There's cards coming out of it. Dope. Here we go. Look at this. Wow. I can't see you anymore. But yeah, you can see it's just really pretty. There's so many different options of what you're doing and how you move across the board, blah, blah, blah. Super awesome game. I love it. Love, love, love it. And I'm sure it's higher on your list. Do tell.
No, it's not. It's actually
not
lower on my list.
Is it?
Slightly. I mean, it's the same
Really?
general area. Mine's 62.
Really?
It was new to the list. Like she said, it's new,
Okay.
it's new to my list, obviously new to your list.
Uh-huh.
I think we got this first part of the year. We discovered Venos and this and several other of his games this year. We got Gallerist a couple years ago.
Yep.
And we kind of decided we were liking heavier games, so we kind of jump on board the Lacerda train and now we're up to 4 games of his. So
Yeah, and it's funny because I think the Gallerist at the time was a little bit heavy for us.
it was pretty heavy the first
But
time.
by
I
the
played
time
it.
we got around to playing this one, we were like, wow, there's so much game here. It made us want to go back and try the Gallerist again. I mean, this is one of those games that makes you want to try more after that, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
What I like to say about his games is it's a bear to teach, but after your first couple rounds, you're like, oh, this makes total sense how this works.
It
right?
does. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, at first you're going, huh? It's like, I do what? This is overwhelming. I don't know how to do all this. But then you realize your turn, all you're doing is one of those things or something. It's just, it's amazing. So yeah, if you're into trying heavy games, the simplistic beauty that is his design is worth trying out for sure.
All right, so you had a good pick.
See?
In terms of where it fell.
All right. The next one is also new to my list.
It's like a conga line of new games.
Of new games. And now Hunter's going to cry because it's like a tiniest bit higher than Lisboa. And it's also on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's a really light game.
Oh, no.
I call this my Machikoro killer, though. And that is Space Base. I liked Machikoro, but there were things about it that are kind of, like, I guess, for lack of a better word, broken. That you can easily have a runaway leader, different things like that. But with Space Base, it kind of helps you even the odds. And you get these benefits of the cards. Whatever you roll the dice, if the other person rolls the dice, you've got a whole array of cards that you can set up on the top that give you benefits when someone else rolls. And then you've got your cards at the bottom that give you the benefits when you roll. So there's this push and pull of, do I want to put some cards up here and get those benefits, or do I keep those good ones down for me? Am I rolling well? And meanwhile, you're doing this and trading in for all these victory points. And of course, towards the end of the game, you want to start switching to buying these really expensive cards that all they give you is victory points. But you can't do anything else with them, so they're kind of like just a dead weight. But they give you all these end game score monster chunk of points. So I love the balance of this game. It's easy to learn, super easy to learn, super easy to teach. And then it's just a little fun strategy of when you want to put what where. How are the dice rolling? Do I seem to roll a lot of 7s? If that's the case, you want to bulk up that number, right? And it's just, and that's it. That's the game in a nutshell. Really fun. I like the cutesy theme. Of course, it could be basically any theme because there's not much theme to the dice rolling in this game, but I, of course, like space. So that is the glorious Space Base.
So you like this game a lot.
I do.
More than I do.
I do like this game a lot. And oddly enough, yes, folks, it's a dice game. What?
So it's about 128.
Holy, well, because it's so light.
But here's where I have to disagree with you. And this is just my opinion. This game doesn't know what it wants to be. Let me explain myself. It kind of looks like and feels like a gateway intro game. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you get into it, it's got all these kind of fiddly rules. Like, you charge up this thing, and it takes a certain number of charges, and you have to use charges, and sometimes it charges, sometimes it don't. When you roll this, it charges, and when it doesn't. And you can use it certain times, and you can't use it other certain times.
Yeah, there's
it's got all these...
I could have gotten...
I would say kind of fiddly rules and that are not really necessary. And it's almost like they said, okay... We've made this great game, in my opinion, with the dice rolling and stuff like that. Super light, super intro, super gateway. All right, let's trick it up. Let's do these charges and things and make it all kind of gamery. And now it lands in this nebulous gateway, not gateway zone. Like, okay, I could teach this game, but then I guarantee non-gamers, if I start teaching about charging it up and you can use the charges, they're going to be like, what? But if you just say roll the dice and you get some stuff,
yeah,
that's so much simpler, right?
That's true.
So it doesn't bother me, but I can see where this game lands in a weird place between a gateway and a not gateway game.
I would avoid those cards
yeah.
until I.
But they're a big chunk of the game, right?
They can be. They can be. Yeah,
they're a big chunk of the game.
They can be.
So yeah. So I like it. I mean, it's a great game if you like dice rolling.
Oh,
you like games where you are interested in other people's turns and what's going on in their turns, and you're always engaged. This is a great game, but I would not pull this out as a gateway game to teach people.
No, I don't think so.
I guess you could pull all those cards out of the game, but that seems a bit much to make.
I think it would change the balance a bit.
Yeah,
too,
so I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It just seems like that's kind of a fiddly rule.
No, I think you're right. If you were truly trying to introduce it as a gateway game, that would cause problems. Yeah. But if you do it as like a next step game,
yeah,
I think it easily fit in that spot. And it's a lot of fun. It's one of those games that when I get done, it's like, oh, you know what? I want to try something different. I want to play it again. I always want to play it again after we're done. So
I like it.
It's kind of a sign of a good game if you want to play it again right away, right? And that is space base.
Now, if it was like corporate intrigue, like if it had another theme on it, would it be lower on your list just because it's space-ish? Does it help it?
It might help it a little bit. I don't know how much it pushes us up the list. As long as the art was okay and cool. If it's corporate, that sounds very boring. So it'd have to have cute art. I'm
just saying, if there's another theme pasted onto that, would it be?
I think it would probably still be good because I really enjoy what you do with this game. But yeah, it might not have attracted my attention as quickly as this one. Yeah, because of the space theme. There is truth to that. I like space. I'm like, ooh, what is these? So I say just like that too. All right. My number 52 is also new.
You didn't give us a sneak peek. It's like a surprising thing.
I know, isn't it fun? You never know what's coming. And this one is another heavy monster. And it is the beauty and the delightful deliciousness of Food Chain Magnate. And, you know, it's funny because this is another heavy game. Because this is, what's his face? What are they?
Splotter.
A Splotter game. It's a Splotter game. And so apparently there's like limited print runs of this. It's kind of hard to get a hold of sometimes. And people talk badly about the art, but I like the art in this game. It's got that kind of almost Spartan design that they used in the 50s, though, to do their cute little ads and stuff. And I like the design. I think it fits the theme perfectly. I thought it was cute. So it didn't bother me at all. But this game, I gotta open it and show you this game off. It's a noisy box. But, okay, so you've got, okay, paper money, whatever. That part is not so much. The map, they could have done something with this map. I gotta be honest, the map is ugly. It's boring. This is one of the squares of the map. Boring as a heck. But, oh, you probably already put the upgraded pieces in here.
Yep.
Well, we have upgraded little bits, but the little bits are cardboard bits and they're colored.
No, they're wooden.
Huh? They're wooden too?
The regular bits are wooden.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they're just not as fancy. That's right. They're not as fancy as the little updated ones, but they're cool. But they have, let's see here. Where is my, oh, it's on the bottom. Of course. I like the rule book and everything because they set it up like,
you want the rule book?
No, I want the, here they are.
Player aids?
The player aids. They set these up like a little menu. And I absolutely love the gimmicky designs that they used for this. So yeah, you open it up Here's your menu board. This is your chain, your tech tree, however you want to call this. It's all the different career paths. So when you're basically you're setting up your food chain, your fast food chain restaurants, and your empire in this town. And so you've got all these different people that you need to hire, and you need to train them to get better positions and get raises and get higher and higher up the chain, and they can in turn train other people, and you're building your engine up with this. In the meantime, they're out there advertising for your products, and you have people cooking those products. You're going out and building another restaurant near another set of houses. It's so much, though. It's a lot to absorb at first, because everybody does a specific job, which you have this lovely menu tech tree. And then on the back, which they, was it a expansion, or what was it that gave you the whiteboards of this?
It's a BGG promo.
Oh, okay. It was a BGG promo. That was cool. Because what they have is, on the back here, you've got these different benefits you get. If you're the first person to market a drink, for example, you get plus $5 for every drink sold, which money is your victory points in this game. You're trying to earn money. So $5 for every single drink sold, that's huge. So you're watching what other people are doing, because this bonus now that you've kind of popped it, is the only thing, this is the only turn in which it's available. After that, it's marked out and no one else can qualify to get it. So you may want to piggyback on what other people are doing so that you can get the same kinds of bonuses, because, you could run away with that. You get plus $5 for every single drink sold. I'm going to watch what he's doing and see if he's hiring those people to make this happen. There's also things like... the first waitress played, every waitress is plus $2, things like that. You get this cool benefit. And the BGG little upgrade thing has made it a whiteboard so you can mark them off and keep track of them better. I think before that just covered them.
Cards.
Yeah, that's right. They had cards. That's what it was. So you keep the cards in front of us, which was a little bit more, takes up a lot more table space with that. But again, not a problem, because you have your nice little cheat guide here on the menu. Love this game. It's got a surprising amount of depth for it. And again, the art is kind of sparse, but I like it in this particular game. I think it's really cool. It makes me interested enough that I would probably try another Splatter game at some point. This one is a long game. I think we've only played this 2-player, right?
No, we played it with...
Oh, that's right. We have played it with more players.
Yeah.
And it does... I don't think it extended the time all that much, really.
A little bit.
A little bit, only because it was a new teach, really.
It was long.
But it's a long game.
But you can choose, at the start, you can choose how long of a game you want.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
You kind of vote on which the game length you want.
Yes, and I do really like that about it, too. It's got a little bit of that give and take with it. So you can play a short version, you can play a long game if you're really getting into it and you want to build your empire really big. Awesome game. A lot of variety. A lot of stuff going on with it.
So it's about 33. I like it more than you, but I knew that, so
yeah,
I'm okay with it.
It's a monster heavy game.
I will allow it.
I'll allow it.
It's a fun one. It's a fun one. It's super heavy, super expensive. Like you said, a lot of people poo-poo the production, but these games are expensive for what you get. The bits you get, they're crazy expensive, but
yeah, it's
a limited print run, and the amount of development that goes in these games is crazy. It's like insanely. I can imagine how much work it took to design and play test these games.
Oh my gosh!
So you're not paying necessarily for what's in the box. You're paying for all the work that went into making the game, in my opinion. So you can take that or leave it. But love it. Like you said, we probably should try some other ones because I think we'd like them.
Yeah, I think so too. So if you don't want to buy it, might find out if the convention has it or something, because it'd be worth it. My number 51 has dropped a bit. It was 43 last year. And I think it's just because, honestly, all the new games that have flooded in, I think this is probably going to hold pretty solidly in the middle of my list for a while. And that is the cute little awesomeness of Targi. I like how I yo-yoed between really heavy game, really light game, really heavy game, really light game. This isn't really light, but compared to Food Chain Magnate, yes, it could float away. You've got this, again, another 2-player only game, and you've set up these grid of cards, and you're going to do worker placement, but what happens is where I place them kind of locks out a row or a column, and we're going to take turns doing that until we have all of our meeples on the board, and then we also get not only the benefit of where you put your meeple, but in the middle of the board where our pieces would intersect, we're going to get that benefit also. And you've got two different types of tiles. There's some that have like end game bonuses to them, and then you've got some immediate get some resources cards. So you're going through getting resources or trying to buy cards that give you end game victory points and stuff like that. And they're kind of a set collection, and you can collect them in different ways. You can get all the same type of card or get one of each different kind, because you kind of have to create your own player board as you're buying these cards at the end of the game. I really like the balance with this game. It's a 2-player game. It feels like it's more. It feels like it's got some meat to it. It's got a lot of fun little choices with it. You've got a little bandit guy that goes around and blocks a certain place each turn as he's going through, just to kind of keep the game, keep it driving so that it's not always the same thing. You never know what you're going to get. And the middle cards are always changing each round, because every time you select that action, that card goes away to be replaced by something else. Really love how this game goes. It's pretty fast. It says an hour, and I think we play it in an hour or just under that. It's an awesome game when we're just sitting around waiting for something to do, or again, it's portable. You can take it anywhere. It takes up a little bit of space though. So love me some Targi.
So I like how you nicely bookended your games with a light 2-player game and a fairly light 2-player game, and then a bunch of massive games in the middle. It's like a nice little bell curve of difficulty.
Power Grid and then Jaipur, but yeah.
So this is my 164. I don't like it nearly as much as you do.
Are you played out on it?
No, it's just, I understand it's a good game. It's just not my kind of game.
This is a great go-to 2-player.
Yeah.
I think. Oh.
Why did you do that?
I don't know why I opened this. Disaster.
Never open a box unless you intend to play the game.
But yeah,
the joys of vertical storage without bagging.
Yeah, there's that.
Eventually, everything
it
ends up.
had an interesting insert.
That's a good one. Yeah. It's. I mean, I like it. I enjoy it. It's like it makes me like. Jaipur is what it is. It's a light little card game.
Yeah.
Targi's kind of a little heavier, but it makes me want to play a bigger game. Like it's like I want.
Yeah.
When I'm done, I'm like I want to play something more. I mean, give me another half hour. I can crank out a midweight Euro game in 90 minutes. Right? It's a light game, a fairly light game that takes a bit long. I wouldn't say it's super long, but a bit long. And I just like, oh man, I could be playing so many other worker placement games. I mean,
can't believe you said that. Don't listen, Targi.
I said it. And this game's been reprinted. The expansion, I believe, is about to come out in the U.S. or it has come out in the U.S.
There's an expansion? I don't know if I'd want to mess with it. It's just such a cute, nice little game. What would they have in the expansion?
I don't know.
More cards,
I didn't research it because, 164.
Don't mind me. There you have it. That was my 60 through 51, which means that the next time you see us, we'll be talking about the bottom of the top.
The worst of the best.
We went from the best of the worst to the worst of the best. It's very exciting. You don't know what to think. Will Hunter fall out of his chair? I guarantee you he'll probably scowl.
Yeah, there's a lot of games on my list that hasn't shown up yet and never run out of slots for them.
Never will.
They won't. And then there will be words.
Oh, man.
There will be
words. Those words be on camera. Stay tuned. See us next week. Bye. You should just leave that in.